Rachel Zegler just made a desperate U-turn, trying to backtrack on her fiery anti-Trump rant. But is it too little? Too late? Disney execs are reportedly distancing themselves, and the 200mm Snow White remake is now a PR disaster. When Zegler was cast, it was called Progress, but fans weren't convinced, especially after she trashed the original film, dismissed Snow White's love story as weird, and promised a no prince, no romance, feminist version. Then, the Seven Dwarfs were reimagined, sparking more outrage. But the real backlash came when Zegler attacked Trump supporters, saying, "May Trump voters and Trump himself never know peace." The internet exploded. Boycott calls skyrocketed. And yet, Disney stayed silent. The same Disney that fired Gina Carano within days for less. The hypocrisy? Unbelievable. Then came the apology. Cold, robotic, and clearly PR crafted. Fans weren't buying it. The backlash only got worse. Instead of fixing things, it deepened the divide between Disney and its audience. Now, Snow White is in free fall. The teaser trailer? 1.3M dislikes. Reports of costly reshoots and chaotic production hint at a massive flop. And let's be real. Does anyone actually want this remake anymore? Disney's live-action magic is wearing off fast. The question is, can they save this movie, or is it doomed before it even hits theaters? Let me know what you think. Rachel Zegler's Snow White is turning into one of Disney's biggest disasters yet, and she has no one to blame but herself. What should have been a career-defining role has turned into a PR nightmare. Instead of celebrating the legacy of the 1937 classic, Zegler trashed it, calling the original outdated, mocking Snow White's love story as weird, and proudly promising a modernized, independent Snow White with no prince and no romance. Fans were already on edge, accusing Disney of butchering a beloved fairy tale just to push a political agenda. But then Zegler took things even further. In a now infamous social media rant, she attacked Trump supporters, saying, "May Trump and his voters never know peace." The internet exploded. Outrage spread across political lines. Even those who weren't Trump fans found her remarks divisive, reckless, and out of touch. Boycott calls surged. Boycott Snow White trended. And suddenly, Disney had a massive PR crisis on its hands. The hypocrisy was impossible to ignore. Disney fired Mandalorian actress Gina Carano instantly for far less, yet when Zegler's comments sparked backlash, the company stayed completely silent. Fans saw this as proof of Disney's double standards, further deepening the divide between the company and its audience. Then came Zegler's apology, but instead of damage control, it poured gasoline on the fire. Her statement felt cold, calculated, and insincere, more like something written by a PR team than a genuine reflection of remorse. Social media tore her apart, accusing her of being arrogant and out of touch. Memes flooded Twitter. The backlash wasn't dying down. It was getting worse. And Disney? They panicked. Reports surfaced of chaotic reshoots, internal conflicts, and ballooning budgets as the studio scrambled to salvage the film. Meanwhile, the first teaser trailer hit YouTube and was met with 1.3 million dislikes, an overwhelming rejection from fans. The movie was no longer a fairy tale. It was a symbol of everything wrong with modern Disney. Even worse, a rival Snow White film is now in the works, one that promises to stay faithful to the original, with Snow White and the evil queen gaining traction. It looks like Disney may have officially lost the fairy tale battle. At this point, the Snow White remake is looking more like a sinking ship. Despite a $200 million budget, industry insiders are questioning if Disney will quietly delay or even scrap the film altogether. Adding to the chaos, Zegler is now being called a Hollywood liability, with whispers that major studios are dropping her from projects to avoid the controversy. So, what happens now? Does Disney double down? Or will they finally wake up and listen to their audience? Is Rachel Zegler's Hollywood career over before it even really began? One thing's for sure. This is one fairy tale that didn't get a happy ending. Let me know your thoughts. Does Disney deserve this backlash? It's a Snow White showdown. Disney versus Daily Wire. Disney's Snow White remake is already drowning in controversy. But now, there's a new challenger in the ring. Conservative media company Daily Wire is stepping up with their own live-action version, Snow White and the Evil Queen, starring Brett Cooper. And just like that, we have a full-blown Snow White war. While Disney's version has been slammed for gutting the classic fairy tale in favor of a modern, feminist rewrite, Daily Wire's take promises to stay true to the spirit of the original. The announcement has sent shockwaves through Hollywood and social media, igniting fierce debate over which Snow White will reign supreme. Disney's Snow White remake is already drowning in controversy, but now there's a new challenger in the ring. Conservative media company Daily Wire is stepping up with their own live-action version, Snow White and the Evil Queen, starring Brett Cooper. And just like that, we have a full-blown Snow White war. While Disney's version has been slammed for gutting the classic fairy tale in favor of a modern, feminist rewrite, Daily Wire's take promises to stay true to the spirit of the original. The announcement has sent shockwaves through Hollywood and social media, igniting fierce debate over which Snow White will reign supreme. Disney's Snow White. A controversial reinvention from the start, Disney's Snow White has faced relentless backlash, and leading actress Rachel Zegler hasn't helped. Instead of celebrating the timeless 1937 classic, Zegler openly mocked it, dismissing the prince as a weird stalker and rejecting the original love story in favor of a strong leader narrative. Her comments didn't just ruffle feathers, they infuriated fans. To many, Disney wasn't modernizing Snow White. They were completely dismantling it. Instead of a romantic fairy tale, the movie now focused on female empowerment, politics, and removing the happily ever after. The internet erupted. Boycott Snow White trended. Even Disney loyalists felt betrayed. Critics accused the studio of forcing a woke agenda onto a beloved classic, alienating the very audience that made Disney what it is today. And then, as if the fire needed more fuel, Zegler's political outbursts took center stage. Her public anti-Trump remarks angered a huge portion of the audience, making her one of the most controversial actresses in Hollywood overnight. Even Disney executives reportedly panicked, unsure of how to contain the PR disaster. Now, with a $200 million budget on the line, many are wondering if Disney's Snow White will even make it to theaters at all. Daily Wire's Snow White, a direct response. Enter Daily Wire. Seeing the growing frustration with Disney, the conservative media company announced its own version, Snow White and the Evil Queen, starring Brett Cooper. Unlike Disney's remake, this version embraces the original fairy tale's romance, charm, and magic. No radical rewrites. No forced, modern themes. Just a faithful, beautifully crafted adaptation. The teaser trailer dropped, and the internet went wild. Daily Wire's project isn't just about Snow White, it's part of a bigger mission. The company has also launched BentKey, a rival streaming service aimed at offering family-friendly, non-woke entertainment. Whether you agree with their politics or not, one thing is clear. They're putting their money where their mouth is. The battle for the real Snow White now, Hollywood is bracing for one of the biggest cinematic showdowns in recent history. On one side, you have Disney's radical rewrite, led by Rachel Zegler, who has become a symbol of Hollywood elitism and out-of-touch storytelling. On the other, Daily Wire's traditional retelling, starring Brett Cooper, a rising conservative star who has built a loyal fan base by rejecting modern Hollywood narratives. The question is, which one will audiences choose? Disney has been banking on its brand loyalty for years, but with a string of box office flops, The Little Mermaid, Peter Pan and Wendy, The Marvels, many believe this could be the final straw for the company. Daily Wire, meanwhile, has momentum on its side. It has a dedicated fan base that wants an alternative to mainstream Hollywood. And if Snow White and the Evil Queen delivers, it could change the entertainment landscape. So, what do you think? Will Disney's Snow White flop under the weight of its own controversy? Or will Daily Wire's version emerge victorious? Drop your thoughts below. Which Snow White are you rooting for? It's official. We've entered the era of dueling Snow Whites. Disney's Snow White remake was already in hot water. And now, Daily Wire is stepping in with their own live-action version, Snow White and the Evil Queen, starring conservative commentator Brett Cooper. And just like that, we've got a full-blown fairy tale war. For months, Disney's version has been drowning in backlash. Actress Rachel Zegler's comments about the 1937 classic, calling it outdated, weird, and stalkerish, sparked fury from longtime fans. The decision to remove Prince Charming and turn Snow White into a fearless leader didn't just raise eyebrows, it enraged audiences who saw it as yet another Hollywood attempt to erase tradition. Now, Daily Wire has stepped up to the plate, promising a faithful, romance-filled version that stays true to the original fairy tale. And let's just say, the internet is on fire. From the start, Disney's Snow White has been a PR disaster. Actress Rachel Zegler did herself no favors when she started openly mocking the original film. She called Prince Charming a weird stalker. She dismissed the romance as irrelevant and outdated. She said she hated the original movie and wanted to rip the guts out of it. And if that wasn't enough, Disney completely rewrote the story. No Prince Charming. No love story. No happily ever after. Instead, Snow White dreams of becoming the leader her late father told her she could be. The Seven Dwarfs, replaced with a random group of diverse, tall people, with only one actual dwarf. At this point, it didn't even feel like Snow White anymore. Fans weren't having it. Boycott Snow White trended for weeks. Even Disney diehards started questioning the studio's choices. It wasn't just about one movie. It was about Hollywood forcing modern political narratives into every remake. And then, as if things couldn't get worse, Zegler's public image imploded. She took swipes at Disney fans for caring about the original. She made politically charged statements that alienated a huge portion of the audience. Even Disney executives reportedly panicked, worried that her attitude was killing the movie's appeal. With a $200 million budget at stake, many are wondering if Disney's Snow White will even make it to theaters, or if it'll end up as another expensive flop. Enter Daily Wire. Instead of just complaining about Disney's changes, the conservative media company decided to do something about it, and so Snow White and the Evil Queen was born. Brett Cooper was cast as Snow White, an actress who actually respects the source material. The movie embraces the original's romance, fairy tale magic, and timeless values. No forced modern narratives. No rewriting history. Just a classic story told beautifully. And when the trailer dropped, the internet went wild. Daily Wire isn't just making a movie, they're making a statement. This film is part of their larger mission, offering family-friendly, non-woke entertainment through their streaming service, Bentkey. And whether you agree with their politics or not, one thing is clear. They are giving audiences a real choice. Now, Hollywood is bracing for one of the biggest cinematic showdowns in years. On one side, Disney's radical remake, starring Rachel Zegler, who has become a symbol of modern Hollywood's out-of-touch storytelling. On the other, Daily Wire's classic retelling, starring Brett Cooper, a rising conservative star who rejects Hollywood's constant reimaginings of beloved stories. So, the real question is, which version will audiences actually choose? Disney has been relying on brand loyalty for years, but with a string of recent box office bombs, The Little Mermaid, The Marvels, Indiana Jones 5, many believe this could be the final nail in the coffin. Daily Wire, meanwhile, is gaining momentum. They have a dedicated fan base eager for alternative storytelling, and if Snow White and the Evil Queen delivers, it could change the entertainment industry. As expected, social media is in chaos. Team Disney fans defend Zegler's approach, arguing that fairy tales should evolve. Team Daily Wire supporters say, not every story needs to be rewritten to fit modern politics. Casual viewers? Many just want a good movie. And they're frustrated by Hollywood's constant politicization of entertainment. Meanwhile, memes are everywhere. Zegler's comments have become viral soundbites. Hashtags like "Wandy not my Snow White" and "Wandy go woke go broke" are trending. Brett Cooper's casting is being celebrated as a victory for classic storytelling. This isn't just about Snow White anymore. It's about the future of entertainment itself. So here we are. 2 movies, 2 visions, 2 Snow Whites. One version erases tradition in favor of modern messaging. The other embraces the classic fairy tale and everything that made it iconic. And now, the choice is yours. Are you Team Rachel Zegler's bold feminist rewrite? Or are you Team Brett Cooper's faithful adaptation? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this debate is far from over. And hey, if you want to stay in the loop on all the latest Hollywood drama, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss out. This is one Snow White showdown you don't want to miss.